Welcome to Godly Woman with a Purpose, the podcast where I dish to y'all the real raw truth as I and as we evolve. I'm your girl, SantaLí Nicole, the one and only. I'm truly excited to get into this episode. I've made it my mission lately to really get into practicing I guess you could say lately I've been really just getting into the habit of celebrating the little accomplishments, and being that this is a milestone for me in general, first being in front of a camera and publicizing my business to strangers, having the conversations that I would normally have in private, publicizing them for others to join in on the conversation. That in itself is a big accomplishment for me. To be going into episode 11 of my podcast, that 2 months ago I could not even see myself being here, is really truly greater than a pat on the back. Like, I deserve a round of applause, a standing ovation. Thank you. The real thanks goes to God, like above all. It was because of him that I even got the courage, got the idea, got the drive behind pushing this dream forward. It's always been my prayers and my dreams to get people to a place where, as we as one come to an understanding that this world is not only up, but it's also in our hands and our responsibility to get it to a place where our kids don't have to deal with this BS that we deal with on a daily basis. To have that passion behind it, he just kind of gave it that fatherly nudge. It's not easy in this world, and I say that with a lot of enthusiasm, because if it was easy, then a lot of us, would be able to do it, but we wouldn't know which ones are real and which ones are fake. And that's why it's important that we are focused on who we surround ourselves with. We see things differently, and that's the beauty in us all being different, is we all have different perspectives. And even if you may not agree with one person's perspective, it doesn't mean that you will feel that same way about the next person. Giving people a chance, because the same way I would want them to give me a chance, I'm not the same woman I was a year ago. I've learned from who I was trying to be, living life on my own. It's gotten me to this point where I can use all of that, and I can use it as my stepping stone. The gospel is what can set you free. It's good news, basically, is what the gospel means. He said, the beautiful are the feet who spread my good news. And if we are choosing to put ourselves in that predicament, to be persecuted, to be mocked, then of course he's going to reward us with things. I'm not looking forward. Well, I wouldn't say I'm not looking forward to the things, because who doesn't want a nice house? Who doesn't want nice clothes? Who doesn't want a good place to be able to have their, business startup, or a nice car, or a nice husband, or a nice wife, or, beautiful and healthy kids, right? I want the type of things that will last, not only here on earth, but that will last me all of eternity. Through this journey, through this podcast, through what he's been working on in me, I'm going to be real with y'all. The work he's been doing in me, it is not easy. It's not easy. It's hard. It's hard. And it's not the work itself that's hard. It's the getting through it that's hard. I was just thinking about this before I started recording, but a year ago, I graduated massage therapy school. Okay, so I'm certified massage therapist as of now. And to look back a year ago and to see all that I was in, and to know all that I was going through, and to be where I'm at in my life now is mind-blowing, because within a year span, God has done so much. Outwardly, to people, it would look like he didn't do nothing and it just got worse. Man looks to the outward appearance, but God looks to the heart, right? So inwardly, the progress, it's improved over time, and it's gotten me to a point where now, I was just saying this, that I can look back. I can also take all the grace and the patience that it's taught me, right? Not knowing how it was going to work out, where I was going to be, what I was going to be doing, and to be in this moment and looking forward, hold that grace, hold that patience for myself. Although I may not know what the next step is going to be, I may not know the details, I may not know who, what, when, where, why, or how, but I do know who has my life in their hands, who's directing my steps, who's loving me every step of the way, right? Because I've never imagined someone on earth loving me as much as he's loved me. First of all, that's a lie. There's someone that he has made me for, that is perfectly imperfect for me. That's the first truth to the first lie that the enemy tries to tell me. And secondly, is that I understand that I don't need to know every step of the way. I can focus on where I'm at now and how I've gotten here, the steps that it's taken, the work that it's, had to be put in to get me to this point. And I could be thankful. That's all it takes, is a rejoicing heart, is a thankful spirit. He doesn't ask us to know every step of the way. He doesn't ask us to handle everything. It's not everything we can control. He just asks us to have faith in him. And having faith is knowing of these things that Christ has taught us in the Bible, the book of instruction, but it's believing what we cannot see. So he tells us that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, even though we may not feel it. It's having faith that at some point I'm gonna actually be in a place where I know, and I'm not afraid to acknowledge that, yes, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. There's a point where that fearfully and wonderfully made version of me is going to prosper. It's going to shine through, because regardless of what I may feel at the moment, my emotions aren't going to be forever. They last about 90 seconds, and it's your decision whether you want to make it who you are or let it be just what it is, an emotion, a moment. There's so much for us to be thankful for. There's so much for us to be grateful for and to rejoice over, to celebrate, even if we may not see it. Thank you, God, that you woke me up with no complications, with no deformities, that you woke me up with working legs, mobile arms, with a heart that is pumping life, with eyes that can see, with hands that can touch, with feet that can run and walk and jump and celebrate, and with a mouth that I'm able to speak. All of these little things that we take for granted on a daily, because we're just so entitled and thinking we deserve another day. What he's brought to my attention is, what are you doing that is having you in this mentality where you think you deserve another day? It's a lot of humility that's been going on, and that's what I'm saying. This has all been in a year. I'm not just talking about in this podcast. This podcast has just been the cherry on top to a life that God has already blessed. So this is one of the blessings that I thank him for, that he's given me this platform to share his good news through my life, that he's given me the opportunity, the articulation, and the favor to find the right community that will accept me and love me for who I am, to find the right hearts that he is able to change through me, because I'm not the one changing your heart. There was somebody who messaged me, and they were thanking me for my prayers because they got this position. We need people who not only are not afraid to pray for you, but who aren't afraid to say that this is what you need to pray for. If prayer was easy, everyone would do it, but the enemy knows that there's so much power in prayer, and he keeps us from doing it. We're so quick to speak these things that are harsh to other people, but we won't send up a quick prayer. Lord, change their heart. Lord, change their tongue. Lord, change their mentality, right? There's so many people that we are quick to hate, but we won't say, I love you. And I love you because of the fact that you don't know how much you are loved, and you have so much hate in you. Lord, change their hearts. Reveal to them that they are loved, that they are cared for, that they are spoken for by you. She sent me a message and was like, oh my gosh, thank you for your praise. I got this job and you were so right. And I was like, all thanks be to God. I didn't do it, honey. All I did was send your request up to him through my prayers. All you have to do is pray. And prayer is not these long words, it's not this poem or this essay that you have to have with all the facts and this and that. No, it's like a conversation. I've said this before on many episodes. It's just a conversation that you would have with somebody. So you have this one friend that you're always calling when something goes wrong, to complain or to get off your chest, right? To vent to them what's wrong with the situation and how you feel wronged in the situation. I would just say replace that friend with God. Replace that friend with Jesus, with his Holy Spirit. Give God those complaints. Give God that worry. Give God what you would normally put on somebody else, because he can hold it down and he can take care of it way better than your friend can take care of it. He can give you better advice about it than your friend could give you. But you have to be willing to seek it. You have to be willing to hear it. You have to be willing to know what he's going to say. And also, another thing he's taught me is you have to be willing to accept what he's going to say. Because a lot of times, he won't tell you what you want to hear. He'll tell you what you need to hear. And if I know one thing's for sure, I don't like being told something I don't want to hear. I will brush it off. I will ignore it like I never heard it. But all that does is prolong the healing. It prolongs the answer into which you're looking for. Putting yourself in the place of humility to accept that I may not receive the answer that I want, God, but I need the answer. I need the answer that you have for me. Shall it be your will, not mine, as he said in Luke, right? Jesus said, Lord, he said, Father, take this cup from me if it's your will. He stuck with it. He stuck with it because he loved us, one, and he knew that what he was conquering was much greater than what he had to face. To be in this season, to be in this place, to be in this moment of my life where I not only feel free, but I can have a little bit more hope than I did about a week ago, or a little bit more hope than I did about a month ago, especially more hope than I've had about a year ago. Look, I don't know where he's taking me. I don't know how it's going to end up, who's going to stick with me, who's not going to stick with me, who I'm going to be, where I'm going to be doing, like what I'm going to be doing in my life. But I do know that it's going to be somewhere so sweet, so good, so abundantly and exceedingly greater than I could ever ask, think, or imagine. Because I know who my God is. I know that he loves me, and he loves me so much that he doesn't want me to be the same. He doesn't want me to stay the same. And I also would like to thank my subscribers, my fam, who has grown over the months in this journey that he's brought me along. I just pray that your way be lit up, that your way be lit so you have no confusion, right? He's a God of clarity. He's there to encourage you, to give you the hope and the future that you desire, but that you also need. Thank you guys for all of your support. I want to thank you guys for all your constant love, for viewing and sharing and subscribing. I just really am excited for where this next season's about to take me. I'm excited about all of the things that he's about to reveal to y'all, because he's already revealed it to me, but I like to make sure that it's in my spirit, and that I'm practicing it, I'm living and walking in it, because that's what he calls us to do, is to not only hear it, but to be doers of the word, to walk in it each and every day. So I like to make sure that I'm doing the word as well as hearing the word, and to be doing it quite consistently before I just put it out there. If I could be so quick to tell somebody else to do it and not be doing it, that's a hypocrite. And I've never been one to be a hypocrite. You guys will eventually get, you get to see why I am the way I am right now. Just so ecstatic, so full of joy and hope. I really wanted to focus on the prayer part. I've gotten requests from people for me to pray for them, and I love it. I love the requests, and I wish those requests would keep coming in. Not everybody prays to Jesus. Not everybody prays to Jesus the God. Some people pray to God, but we're getting to a place in this life where it's like you got to question what God, right? Are you praying to the God of money? Are you praying to the God of prosperity? Are you praying to the God of the stars? Are you praying to the God of the whatever? I'm praying to Jesus Christ, and you could bet he's going to save your life better than I can. But I don't mind setting up a prayer until, you know, you receive the clarity, until you receive the news that you need. But I do ask that as you guys send me these prayer requests, that you also seek the answer for it, because it's not like magic. He's not just going to poof like a genie in front of you while you're asleep and tell you this is the answer to the question or the prayer that you've been harassing me about. No, you have to be willing to do your part and seek him. And you can only do that by opening up your word. There's so many ways that you can get in touch with him. Like, it's not only just through a physical Bible, although that wouldn't hurt. That's the living word. You know, that's where you will receive the comfort that you need. Prayer app, the Bible app, those apps are tools. Once again, now they have the Bible on them, and yes, that's very helpful. But we are in a day and age where our phones are becoming very much a distraction rather than a tool. I know that firsthand because I was a mindless scroller. Like, he's really been working in me to pull away from just scrolling. And it's really been a challenge for me, though, because of the fact that my business is through technology. It's through Instagram, it's through Facebook and all these other apps that I need to be on the phone. But it's not such a necessity that it should pull me away from what God is trying to tell me, right? Because He's the one that's going to order my steps. Now, if He's telling me that I need to do this and has nothing to do with the phone, that's when I know I've lost track and I need to get back on it. You could use your Bible app on your phone. I'm not, condemning you for it. I'm not telling you you're a bad person for doing it or that you need to step up your game. But I'm going to tell you that there are other options, and I would much rather you spend your time looking for the better option than giving yourself the bare minimum. God is not a bare minimum God. He's going to do abundantly and exceedingly greater for you. So the least that you could do is do the extra mile that you would never normally do for somebody else or something else. I remember a little quick story about that. When I was a smoker, and I used to smoke a lot. I needed to wake up, I needed to cool down, I needed a lunch, I needed a cool down, then I needed a snack, then I needed dinner, and then I needed another cool down, and then a nightcap. So I would go above and beyond to get my flower. As you know, God has been doing the work in me, and He's like, I want you to get into that same mentality that you had when you were smoking to get that flower, the determination you had. I want you to have that same determination when you come in after me, when you seeking for me, when you're seeking me for the answers and the blessings that you want. He said, I want you to have that same determination. I said, oh, he just read me to filth. He did, the nerve, the nerve. But he was right. He was right. I was willing to do above and beyond exceedingly great, things when I would smoke and to get my smoke, that I lost that, that determination when it came to God. Those are the ugly parts of ourselves that we don't normally like to face, but we have to face in order to see the truth that we've been lying to ourselves about. I was like, you're right. You're right. All I could say was, you're right, because he was. He's never wrong. It was me that was wrong, but I don't like to be wrong, so I would ignore it. But it got to a point where I couldn't ignore it, because now I was in a space where I needed that determination. I needed that extra mile, and I needed to push myself to go that extra mile. I don't know about y'all, but I got things I'm wanting. And I'm not just talking about a big house. I'm not just talking about a good husband. I'm not just talking about beautiful, healthy kids. I'm not just talking about land and a business and, employment for other people. I'm talking about things inside of me that are for my family. There's a lot of generational curses and traditions that we need to break, that we need to recognize and do something about. So I'm looking to him to do all of those things in me and for me. And I can't do that if I'm only giving him 5 minutes a day. Now I'm in that place where, after it's fluctuated so many times, where I can do a chapter a day, and I will literally read a verse about 20 times. Not even gonna hold you. 20 plus times. In order for it to really sink in, there's something that says you have to like write it 10 times, read it 10 times, and say it aloud 10 times for it to actually stick in your mind. So that's what I do. Read the Bible. It doesn't matter where you get it from, what app you read it from, just read the Bible. Always, always, always be open-minded as you read the Bible. Be open-minded with what you're reading, be open-minded with how you're receiving it, and don't be afraid to ask questions. If you have a prayer request, keep them coming in. Drop down, in the comments what you're really hoping God for. Don't be dismayed. Don't be discouraged about what it is. Like if you're hoping God for a new car, you're hoping God for a new house, it's okay. You could put that down, because I used to pray to God for that, and in his own way, he's going to prepare you to receive those things, right? Because you don't want to just pray for those things and not have the character to keep them. Thank you guys, like I said, for all of your love. Thank you guys for all of your kindness and your truth. I pray that y'all keep your head up, that you continue to just dive deep into your prayers and allow, God that space to speak to you, because he got a lot to say to you. Okay, I'm your girl, and this is another episode of Godly Woman with a Purpose. I love y'all.